All right, this is the part in the show where I call my shot. I should just start making that a segment where every week I call my shot on the Ben Garcia show. But I don't usually preview a lot of games. I know I preview the Cardinals. I preview the Seahawks. People know I'm based in Arizona. I've covered the Arizona Cardinals for years, but I also talk a lot of different things NFL because I'm a football junkie. I mean, it is 11 o'clock at night tonight on Thursday, and I am just talking to myself into a camera. I am nuts about it. But there is a very interesting game this weekend. Kansas City Chiefs playing the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a game that I think has massive implications, and I'm ready to call my shot on it. Kansas City will be hosting Los Angeles Chargers in Kansas City at Arrowhead. And the Chargers are starting to rise a bit. Now, we know that they can be a little up and down. They lost that game against the Ravens a couple of weeks ago at home, a game that we all kind of thought was favorable for them to win, but they lost that game. They're still trying to find themselves under a new coaching regime. Then they go back, they humiliate the Atlanta Falcons, and now they have a date set with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs have the Bills breathing down their neck. They're trying to savor, or I guess I should say they are trying to protect home field advantage throughout the playoffs that we know Nick Wright likes to call the Arrowhead Invitational that was canceled last year. This is a must-win game for the Kansas City Chiefs. But with the way that it's a must-win game if they want to keep home field throughout the playoffs. I guess I should always add that caveat. But I'm going to take the Los Angeles Chargers to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead this weekend. And let me tell you why. This Kansas City Chiefs team is starting to spiral a little bit. And what is the one quarterback that is tend to give the Chiefs fits, even if they do tend to beat them? It's Justin Herbert. He's never had a head coach capable or competent. Jim Harbaugh rolls into the chat. Jim Harbaugh, or I guess I should say, Jim Harbaugh enters the chat. What do the Chiefs, or how do you beat Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, the greats? You got to keep the ball away from them. And that's what the Chargers can do. There'll be no J.K. Dobbins in this game. I understand. But they still have got a plethora of guys that they have the ability to run the ball with an offensive line that is pretty good at running the football. I believe this Chargers team is going to roll into Arrowhead against a struggling Chiefs team and a little bit beaten up Chiefs team and a defense that is kind of having some trouble recently. And Patrick Mahomes kind of needs that game to maybe whip them back into shape. The Chiefs have not been great all year, but they're a good team. They have championship pedigree. They take every team's best shot, and they're still winning these games. Not saying they're a bad team at all. But they're still trying to find themselves a little bit. It is hard after 2 years of back-to-back championships going to work the same day with the same tenacity. I think this is the week that they get slipped up. I think this is the week that they get got. And I ultimately think that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. And it's not me saying the Chiefs are bad. In fact, I think it's going to be a wake-up call for them and ultimately help them in their quest to three-peat. But here's why I think the Chargers are going to beat the Chiefs. Justin Herbert has always given the Chiefs fits. Yes, they've always beaten them, but he's never had a competent head coach. Jim Harbaugh then enters the chat. This is a team that has the ability to run the football pretty well. And again, like I said before, how do you beat Patrick Mahomes? How do you beat Tom Brady? How do you beat Peyton Manning? You keep them off the field. You run the football. If the Chargers are able to muck up this game and make it a Smashmouth football style of play and make the Chiefs play their brand of football, they will win this game, and I believe they will. God willing, Ladd McConkey plays in this game, and Justin Herbert has some players to throw the ball to, but I like the Chargers in this spot. It's also a spot that the Chargers need to win. And it's also a spot in which the Chiefs are trying to protect home field. A little bit of pressure for the Chiefs, and the Chargers need to go in and beat the Chiefs in this one. Not to mention that the Chiefs have already beat the Chargers earlier this year. So the Chargers are trying to get that get back. And they got them earlier in the season where, again, they were still trying to find themselves. Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, I think they are going to be a thorn in the side of the Kansas City Chiefs for years. And I think it starts now. And we look at all the injuries that the Chiefs have. We look at some of the defensive issues that they've had recently. We've seen them lose players due to injury on defense as well. And I think this Chargers team that is starting to ascend, combined with this Chiefs team that is starting to wobble a little bit, I think the Chargers go into Kansas City and ultimately beat the Kansas City Chiefs and kind of shake up that division a little bit. And then when that happens, don't look now. The Chiefs would be under some serious pressure because then the Bills are really breathing down their neck. And if there's one thing this Chiefs team really needs, especially this year, it's to not go on the road and face Josh Allen in Buffalo. They need to protect home field advantage. And that's why I think there's a little bit of that pressure again this year while they're trying to three-peat. And I don't think they're going to do so. I think Herbert's going to catch them. I think Herbert and Jim Harbaugh are going to catch them lacking a little bit. And then I ultimately think, which I'll say this later on if it does happen, but I ultimately think that's going to be a great thing for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they need to get knocked around a little bit. And I think that is actually what is going to propel them to a potential three-peat. They'll be able to get their priorities in order, clearly understand what's going wrong, and really just show them that they are not invincible. And I think that's what the Chargers are going to do this weekend. Every team needs to get got. This is any given Sunday. The Chiefs were never going 17-0. But I do think that just as much as this win that I think for the Chargers is going to help them, propel them, solidify their playoff spot, the Chiefs as well, losing this game is going to remind them they're not invincible. And three-peating is tough. And it's going to completely rewire everyone on this team to figure it out. Very similar to last year when they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. But none of that happens until what I believe is the Los Angeles Chargers going into Arrowhead and defeating the Kansas City Chiefs.